A lot of things that are really spectacular in the end start out in a very simple place. It took some real grit on our part, desperation, and a lot of hard work. And eventually God began to confirm that, yeah, this was it, that He was in it, that He was going to actually supply our needs, and we could see God coming in ways that we couldn't initially see. I was blessed to have people who had a similar heart and mindset to join me. That's made all the difference. That's why I've been able to kind of endure and sustain over time, is to have those kinds of relationships. And sometimes I'm the one carrying them and sometimes they're carrying me, but it's great to have friends that you can work with. Without that, you've got nothing. It's all about a team.
We knew something big was happening. We knew that something was going to grow and become of this missions organization. We didn't have an office space, we didn't have any structure or anything, and so we just kind of were in survival mode. So you were just trying to do your best to make everything for that summer the best it could be for the participants coming to the field.
So our first project in Mexico was in 1990, and poverty was extraordinary at that point. People lived in just cardboard shacks, and I thought if we can just build them one room where it's not wet, where they're having a roof over their head, then that would be good. And we built hundreds of homes. We had thousands of people coming with us. We knew that we needed a base of operations, and that was the genesis of the Gateway.
It was a really beautiful place. We would go into the colonias where there were these small little shanty houses, and we were there to do vacation Bible school and to do feeding programs, and we did all kinds of things. It was an amazing, amazing ministry.
Yeah, ultimately, it's the nationals who are going to reach their own country, and ultimately it's those overseas that are going to be the missionary force of the future. So we knew from Mexico that that was a successful strategy, and going into places like Swaziland, the base has become 90% Swazi, and the partnership is appropriate, and we bring it into balance because we've got a base of operations.
It's the people of Swaziland is why we do what we do. When we got into the communities, we saw orphans and widows who had already organized themselves into what they call care points. And through Adventures of Missions and through our key partnerships, now we have over 40 care points where we're feeding over 7,000 kids. And we have sports ministry, we have music ministry, we have medical ministry, we have a leadership training for young adults to actually come back into their communities and continue to lift up their communities in a way that brings them to a place where they've never been before.
Because it's the long-term relationships that really make the difference, we need a place where we can go and we can integrate into the long-term effort. Those of us that would come on a short-term trip can fit seamlessly into an overall plan that ultimately builds the kingdom in that local place. I always wanted to give young people an example of what it was to follow Jesus and the way that He wanted to be followed and the way that He had His own disciples following Him. The World Race was a way of doing that. It was an enticement of, wow, we could see these neat countries, have these adventures, but really radically depend on Jesus in these new places to do what He wanted to do.
Going on the road race just opened my eyes to a greater reality, and I think when your reality becomes bigger, then your dreams become bigger as well.
So the road race was an inflection point in my life, changing the trajectory of what I thought my life was going to look like, going from trying to climb the corporate ladder, which was my plan, to now just trying to follow God's leading.
While on the field serving with various ministries, I noticed that they had tangible needs that I had a skill to support. Whether it be data management, organizing their systems, or their students needing education and technology, I knew that there was something that I had to offer.
A little over a year ago, I started a company called Job Rise, and our mission is to create economic opportunities for men and women with criminal backgrounds. Getting to do what I love and what I believe in and what I truly feel that God has called me to do the rest of my life is the greatest thing someone could ask for.
So now, coming off the race with these huge dreams, I was able to start my own nonprofit organization where I teach African American and minority girls how to code. And so in training and mentoring girls who have never left the country, they were then able to go to Nicaragua and Jamaica, teach what they've learned, and then come back with confidence and bigger dreams and a greater perspective of what they have to offer.
Oftentimes as you're stepping out in faith, you don't know if this is really God or not. That's why it's faith. And so many of the great things that we've done over the years has been a function of just not knowing, almost hoping, but believing that God was in it, and you see, yeah, this was God, and He loves, I think, to be trusted in that way, to have us dependent on Him and come through in the 11th hour and know that, wow, that was Him. I couldn't have done this without Him.
It's incredible to look back and see how my life has changed because of the World Race and Adventures and Missions.
It's shaped who we are. It's encouraged us to grow.
It's a lifestyle of loving people.
This place has not only been a place to serve, it's been a place that has transformed our family and has carved pathways of life that we never anticipated. And I'll be forever thankful.
As I look back on 30 years, some of you have been with us for that entire time, and it's made all the difference. And some of you have joined us more recently. One thing we know is that this is a thing that has to be done by a group. It has to be done with supporters like you, and I am so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for those of you that have trusted us. We're looking forward to all that God has for us in the future. We know that we can't do it by ourselves. We need a team, and we're trusting that He'll continue to provide through people like you, and that you'll want to join us, not just on a trip, but for a journey, an adventure that will take us into new realms that we can only imagine of.